So, be prepared. And actually, there's going to be a little communication thing between Christy and I, because my computer cannot control that. And so I'm going to kind of go, or something. So we're going to see how this works. I have no idea. I've never done this before. And it's going out to who knows where. Okay. This morning was very interesting for me. Brian, how much room do I have to walk?
You're okay, but that's your limit. Right?
That's it?
Not a...
Awesome. Okay. This today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry. Okay. This morning was a very interesting morning for me. I normally get up between 5 or 6. It's just, I don't have an alarm. It's just when the eyes open up. And so I'm there. I'm laying in bed, head on the pillow. And before I could even get the head off the pillow, this song hits my head. And I'm sitting there going, okay, His goodness runneth after me, His goodness running after me. God's goodness is running after me. This song keeps going through my head. And so the song, His goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Cause your goodness is running. It's running after me. Your goodness is running. It's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running. It's running after me. That song, literally the brain just went, okay, there's nothing else going on. This is what's stuck in my head. And so it rearranged everything I was going to do tonight. It just did. And I went to the website and I said, okay, where did this song come from? Psalms 23. And it starts out, so Yahweh is my shepherd, I do not lack. This all comes from the scriptures, the version. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He turns back my being. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. When I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You spread before me a table in the face of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth only. Only goodness and loving commitment follow me all the days of my life. That word there, radah, is literally chased, chases, pursued, even hunts. That's what Yahweh's doing. His goodness and loving commitment pursues me. It runs after me. It chases. And then if you think about it, in verse 4, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. What is going to happen until the separation comes? The Israelites are going to go through the same thing that the Egyptians are until that separation comes. I will fear no evil. What brought all the plagues on? It was a rod. And it says, you spread before me a table in the face of my enemies. What is the final event of this thing before they are taken out of Pesach? Guess what it is? It's a table in the presence of all of Mitzrayim, in the presence of my enemies. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, wow, okay, what do I do with this? So anyways, I got up and I started looking at a few things. And I started looking things up. And the first thing I took that hit me was, what started the events that we talked about, the very initial contact that the Father had with Moshe was at a burning bush. And Moshe's very first response was what? If you read it, it was a very simple, here I am. That was his response. And if we look at it, so I thought, okay, let's look at here I am. So I put up there Moshe. And Yahweh saw that he turned aside and see. Elohim called to him from the midst of the bush, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, here I am. I have indeed seen the oppression of my people. I am sending you. Okay, so let's go back and look at a couple of times when that phrase is said, here I am. In Bereshit, Genesis 22:1, Elohim tried Abraham and said to him, Abraham, and he said, here I am. What was that? Did I skip? Yeah, I jumped to verse 11. That was all about taking Yitzhak to a mountain that Yahweh was going to point out to him. Verse 11, but the messenger of Yahweh called to him from the heavens and said, Abraham, Abraham, and he said, here I am. And then he said, do not lay your hand on the boy nor touch him, for I know. Yaakov, same, a little bit different scenario, the same thing. Genesis, Bereshit 31:11, messenger of Elohim spoke to me in a dream, saying, he's relating this to his wife. Yaakov, and I said, here I am. And he said, in the next verse down, skip 12, I am the El of Bethel, where you anointed a standing column and you made a vow to me. Now rise up and get out of this land. You see a little pattern when somebody says, here I am, the Father kind of says, okay, I got something for you to do. He's looking for that, here I am. Samuel did the same thing. 1 Samuel 3:4, and Yahweh called to Samuel and he answered, here I am. Most of us probably know the story. He went to Eli, went to 3-4 times to Eli. Finally, Eli, it dawned on Eli, ding, light goes off. Oh, wait, that's Yahweh. He's not just hearing voices in the dark. And so he told Samuel, next time, say this, here I am. And say, what do you want from your servant? And he goes on and tells Samuel what's going to happen. But the end of it is really interesting. In verse 19, and Samuel grew up, and Yahweh was with him, and did not let any of his words fall to the ground. Oh my goodness. I'll be honest with you guys, I would love to not have any of my words fall to the ground. I mean, wow. Isaiah, Yeshayah 6:8. And I heard a voice of Yahweh saying, whom do I send? And who would go for us? And I said, here I am, send me. Ananias in Acts 9:10, the same thing when he was called. And the master said unto him in a vision, Hananiah, and he said, here I am, master. Go to Rav Shaul, Saul, go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine to bear my name before the nations, and I will show him how much he has to suffer for my name. You know what's interesting? Ananias had almost, well, not the same, but had complaints too about doing what he was told to do, just like Moshe. Moshe's complaints were a little different. Ananias was, ain't this the guy that's killing all of us? I really don't want to go to this dude. But yet, he did. Because the Father said, go, for he is a chosen vessel of mine. So, here I am. Moshe's first response to what the Father was doing. And every time, a lot of times, when we, well, I shouldn't say this, but I said not us, in Scripture, when that here I am comes forth, the Father is going to ask something of us. He's going to have a job. He's going, and even if it comes from us, whereas in Isaiah, he said, where the Father goes, who will go for us? Isaiah says, here I am. My goodness, Isaiah's life was crazy. To the Father taking somebody and calling their name and them saying, "Here I am," and then they're given a purpose, a mission, a job. So let's look at Moshe's complaint. It's kind of interesting. Moshe's complaint and fear. The complaint comes from 4:10. And Moshe said to Yodevave, "O Yodevave, I am not a man of words, neither before nor since. You have spoken to your servant, for I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." So it's interesting. I did a little bit here, and I'm not real sure if we're understanding what Moshe's saying. Because the word slow has some different meanings. It can become heavy. It can be boasting. It can be burdensome. It can mean distinguished. It can mean glorified, glorious. I'm not real sure. I'm just asking some questions in my mind a little bit. What was Moshe saying to the Father? But it was something that he had issues with. Maybe it's the other way around, where it says slow. Maybe it's a simple fact that maybe it was the opposite. Maybe he just couldn't shut up. Speech, slow of speech, to command, to counsel, to dictate, to give evidence. It's your mouth, your tongue, lashon, language. Language is slander. So we get an idea of a little bit of what Moshe is saying. Whatever it is, it has to do with words. It has to do with communication. Hit the next one. Yah's response to the complaint. And Yahweh said to him, "Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes dumb or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, Yahweh? Now go, and I shall be with your mouth and teach you what to say." This is interesting. "And you shall speak, and he shall speak for you to the people." This is jumping down, because from verse 12 to 16, I'm sorry I didn't put it in there, but it has to do that the Father says that I'm sending Aharon to meet you. And you're going to have this, and he's going to do this. And it says, "And he, Aharon, shall speak for you to the people, and it shall be that he shall be a mouth for you, and you shall be an Elohim for him." Okay, next one, please. Moshe's fear comes in 6:12. "And Moshe spoke before Yahweh, saying, The children of Israel have not listened to me. And why would Pharaoh listen to me, for I am of uncircumcised lips?" If I understand and see things right, we're talking about a whole different deal than slow of speech. Because this comes after the people have rejected him. Forbidden, closed, uncircumcised, unskilled. I find it interesting, and the numbers there is what I think is how often they're used in Scripture. But it means closed and forbidden. Something that's uncircumcised, whatever, if you think about it in context of the tabernacle, it's forbidden. What was, and do we remember Moshe's history? Why was he chased out of the land? He killed somebody. Did he even have standing in court? Why would Pharaoh even listen to me? Egyptian law, I'm a murderer. It's kind of like, I think there was a real fear here. Because Yah's response in 7:1 comes. So Yahweh said to Moshe, "See, I have made you an Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aharon, your brother, is your prophet. And you shall speak all that I command you, and your brother, Aharon, shall speak to Pharaoh to let the children of Israel go out of the land." So both times, whether it's a fear or a complaint, the Father addresses it. And he obviously says what Moshe needs to hear. I've after reading it and looking at it, I think the first one was just a complaint. I think this one, Moshe was actually afraid. There was fear here. And this is what the Father said: "I'm going to make you an Elohim to Pharaoh." So now,
That just seems huge to me.
what's that?
That just seems huge to me that he would make Moses and Elohim.
Yep, no, that is, John. So next. So he's told to take this message. Who's this message for? The first message, the first persons it is for, comes in 6:1 to 6:6. And it all has to do with the children of Israel. Now, verse 1, now see what I do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand he is going to let them go. And Elohim spoke to Moshe, said to him, I am Yod-Heh-Vaveh, and now Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov as El Shaddai, by my name, Yod-Heh-Vaveh. This is a little interesting twist on thing. In the scriptures it says, was I not known to them? Verse 4, and it has, I established my covenant with them. Verse 5, but I have heard the groaning of the children of Israel. Now say therefore to the children of Israel. First person that this message is for, that Moshe is told to deliver, is for the children of Israel. Next one. Chapter 7, verse 10. And it's also for the Mitzrites. Shall know that I am Yod-Heh-Vaveh when I stretch out my hand on Mitzrayim. The second group is the Mitzrites. And, am I doing that or? 7:17, thus says Yahweh, by this you, Pharaoh, know that I am Yod-Heh-Vaveh. See, I am striking the waters. So now we have Israel, the Mitzrites, Pharaoh. There's one more people group that this one's for, guys. Next one. 1 Corinthians 10. Goes from 1 all the way down to 11. It has to do with Moshe in the wilderness. It has to do with, do not be ignorant, brothers, that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea, immersed, the same spiritual food, the manna, the same drink, the spiritual rock. However, Elohim, they were laid low in the wilderness. These became examples for us, so that we should not lust after evil as those indeed lusted. Goes on to say, on that what we should not do, neither let us try Messiah, as some tried and were destroyed. The last verse, 10:11, 1 Corinthians. And all these things came upon them as examples, that they were written as a warning to us, on whom the end of the ages have come. So now we got 4 groups of people that this is actually going toward. Children of Israel, Mitzrites, Pharaoh, and us. What's the message? I put down the process on the next one. I should have said, what's the message? It's spread out through what we read. Chapter 8, 10. So he said, tomorrow. And he said, let it be according to your word, so that you know there is no one like Yod-Heh-Vaveh our Elohim. Second, and in that day I shall separate the land of Goshen, very end of the verse, so that you know that I am Yod-Heh-Vaveh in the midst of the land. No one like Yod-Heh-Vaveh our Elohim. I am Yod-Heh-Vaveh in the midst of the land. Verse 14, and I am sending my plagues unto your heart, your servants, your people, so that you know there is no one like me in all the earth. This message is getting big. 16, for this reason I raised you up, show you my power, to declare my name in all the earth. So not only is no one like me in all the earth, I'm doing this to declare my name in all the earth. And Moses said to him, as soon as you go out of the city, let me spread out my hands, in verse 29, 9, let thunder cease, hail be no more, so that you know that the earth belongs to Yod-Heh-Vaveh. There's a transition through these plagues of a message that the Father wants to give. And it is the same to all 4 of those people groups. This is a message I need to really grab a hold of, even in a world that looks like it's out of control. Big question. Is that really the next one? Wow. Okay. Did Pharaoh ever hear the voice of Yahweh speaking to him? I looked through it and I can't ever see where he heard the voice of Yahweh. He heard Moshe's voice telling him what Yahweh said. He never heard the voice of Yahweh. I don't see it anywhere. He heard from Moshe and Aharon. He did see the miracles. He still sinned. Let's do the next one. These are the instances. 9:27, he said, I have sinned this time. 9:34, he said, after the thunder, the rain, and the hail, and all that ceased, yet he sinned again. And every one of these things, guys, is hardening of the heart. There is nothing else that is ever said about his actions. 10:16, I have sinned against Yahweh your Elohim and against you. Pharaoh knows what's going on. And yet, his heart is hardened.
And then that last statement where it says, no, please forgive my sin, only this once.
Yeah.
And then pray your Elohim that he will only turn away the sin.
Yeah. So let's go to John 20:29. And Yeshua said to him, Tomah, because you have seen me, you have believed. This is when, remember, he said, put your finger in the holes.
Yeah. Well,
When you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and have believed. Pharaoh saw all of this, and his heart was hardened, and he refused to believe. This is all written for us, that fourth group, and we do believe. We are, the end of the age is like right around the corner, guys. Anyways, it's all in his hands. But this is for us too. Blessed are those who have not seen and have believed. Okay. Revelations 18:4 says, I have heard another voice from the heavens saying, come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, lest you receive of her plagues. Okay. When Moshe was sent to Israel to bring Israel out of Mizraim, out of bondage, to redeem them, he said, come out. There was someone who was sent to tell them to come out. Here, we already have it. Someone has already been sent to tell us to come out. Right here. Our Messiah. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues. This is where Christy might be able to do something here, hopefully. Next slide. What is the her that we are to come out of? Anybody?
Babylon.
Wow, that's vague. I'm sorry, Mr. Barr.
I didn't get what you said.
Babylon.
Who is the her that we are to come out of? The world system.
Everything that's contrary to what we know is that.
Okay. Can we get specific? I'm just asking.
Humanism. Because, when in the beginning, the people begin to build the Tower of Babylon,
Uh-huh.
and they say, we are going to put name to ourselves. So many, it was me,
Me, me, me.
and the Lord stopped it.
Right.
But now I think that it's going very soon to happen because somebody is going, I mean the Antichrist is going to rule the world.
So it's all about us. Me, me, me?
Yes, me.
Okay. What else are we supposed to come out of? Thank you.
The religious and economic system.
Religious and economic system. Okay. Is that like the
She tried so.
okay. Anybody else? Rather.
Well, I was just wondering, like in Ezekiel, where it warns us against leaning on the staff of Egypt. And I've always wondered, I feel like it's a warning for us maybe. I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Leaning on
The staff of Egypt.
the staff of
That
Egypt.
pierces, that pierces you.
So yeah, I mean,
It's just an interesting.
what can bond us in this world? What do we feel bondage? I mean, what are the snares of this world that the Father would say, you need to get out of, you need to get away from?
Really good question.
Pretty much anything.
Pretty much everything.
John, to me, it's us finding our own way. In other words, us saying, I can figure this out,
Or I can fix my problem.
or I can fix my problem. It's
I
like
can take care of myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Lori?
I was gonna say, what did you see was so evident when COVID came out was you will not worship because we said you can't do that. We're
Okay.
gonna close everything down. That was really a testament to the world of what they believed. And we're willing to follow you. Kind of think, oh yeah, we'll shut down, we got this disease out there, instead of trusting their Elohim to say, no, I'm going to follow him. He gave this instruction. I'm going to continue to serve him. That was a huge one.
Well, I think there's a big difference between growing your own food and buying the food at the grocery store, and it makes me feel a little, how should I say it? It doesn't give me peace that I'm not self-sufficient in that respect. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. It does. Okay. What about, let's what about entertainment? Today's, Udi.
I just want to add something that I keep thinking about this, that God was building basically making his people, Israel, in Egypt, and then taking them out and giving them the law and telling them, one of the things, we should not be like the nations. Make them a peculiar people. And I think this is the full picture that we have today in our age is being God's people that whom he redeemed from sin. And he tells us, do not be conformed to be like this world, the spirit of this world. This is the full picture. The Israelites were actually a shadow. We're pointing to God's people being called by God out of the world of sin,
Yes.
and to follow him.
I don't know if I have this. Oh, don't go dark on me. I've made this comment before. I don't know if it's in here. It's not liking me right now. Maybe I'm supposed to come out of technology. It's still looking for me. Okay. Here we go. When we are redeemed, we pretty much know, if we look at the pattern of the Exodus, we know what they were redeemed from. Right? They're redeemed from bondage. They're redeemed from the oppression. They're redeemed from their overlords, their slavery. They're redeemed. But I don't know how much we talk about what are you redeemed to.
What are you being saved from?
What's that?
What you're being saved from.
Yeah, we want to talk about all day long what we're going to save from. We rarely want to go what we're going to get saved to, what we're redeemed to. I think that's what Udi was talking about. Because the goal of the redemption, the goal of Moshe, who was a prototype redeemer, was to get the people to the mountain. Because he says, this will be a sign unto you that you're doing what you're supposed to do is when they are here to worship me. That is the goal and what was given at the mountain. All of our teaching and instructions for life, which makes us separate from everything that's going on in this world. It will automatically.
But John, I think your words about what we're being saved to is really important. To me, it's really important. I don't know the word, but that's an important perspective. What we're being saved to.
Well, it's huge, John.
And to me, we're being saved to basically being married to our King. I mean, it's like, are we going to learn to really love Him and to follow Him? Will we really be His bride? And to me, that's what we're being saved to, but I don't know if we really understand that exactly, but I think that's what He's calling us to.
Yes.
He's calling us to a wedding feast.
Let's go to the next one. Psalms 95:7. For he is our Elohim, and we are the people of his pasture, the sheep of his hand. Today, if you would hear his voice. Psalms 95:8. Do not harden your hearts as in Meribah, as in the day of Massah in the wilderness. Hebrews 3:15. Well, it is said, referencing, I believe that, it might be someplace else. Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion. I think, if I understand things the way I see it right now, is that the potential spirit, the spirit of Pharaoh, who Pharaoh is, the potential is within each of us. We can easily harden our hearts to what the Father has. His teaching and instructions on things, even though they can be very physical and literal, if we say, I mean, you can say anything, even whether it's about the Shabbat, whether it's about Feast of Festivals or whatever it is. But there are many times when the world says, don't got to really worry about it too much. It's not, life happens, so take a break. In a way, we harden our hearts to what the Father, who is the lover of our soul, has given us to do.
Say that when he said that we're being saved to that hardening your heart, that's really so relevant to all those that didn't hear and didn't come out. That didn't come out with Egypt.
Yeah.
Because they're hearing, they heard everything. What are you hearing today that's going to cause you to come out? Or what is going to keep you there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, John.
Our key may be in the first chapter of the book of John. He's saying in here, like in verse 9, there was a true light who's coming into the world and the light of the man. He, instead of talking about Yeshua, he was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But then here's the key. That as many as received him. To me, here's the key. He says, but as many as received him. And that's the word. And I'm not sure exactly what it means when he says receive. But it says, to as many as received him, to them he gave the right, and the other Bible says the privilege and the authority to become children of Yahweh. Even to those who believe in his name. And then in 13 it says, who were born, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And it's like, so that, to me, the key is receive. Will we receive
Yep.
our own rebellious whatever.
That right that you're talking about, John, allows us to be grafted in to the original covenants. It allows us to go to the mountain, to get the teaching and instructions, and to live who he is in front of a world that has no idea who he is.
Say that last sentence again, 'cause that's key.
You're going to ask me to repeat myself. He's giving us the right. How did I say that, John? Too bad we can't rewind it. We play the tape. He's giving us the right, just as grafted in to the covenants
Okay.
that are before.
Let me share with you. It says in Romans 8:29, it says, we have been predestined to be conformed to the image of Yeshua. And it's like we have been given that opportunity to be more sons like
Yeah.
he is. I mean, that just seems crazy to me that God would invite us into that. But to me, that's exactly what he's doing. He's inviting us to be other sons and daughters.
Correct.
And it's like it's an invitation, but we can say no.
We can. We can harden our hearts. But that invitation is to get to the mountain, to get all the teaching and instructions.
We've received it.
Yeah.
We receive what he's offering us. That's the relationship of father to son, father to daughter.
Yep. Yep.
Well, and bride.
Let's go to the final deal here. None of this is possible without a redeemer. Here I am. I put up there Shemot, Exodus 3:4. When Moshe said, when Yahweh said, Elohim said, Moshe, Moshe, and he said, here I am. That started the process right there for the Exodus, for the redemption, or actually for a nation being born within a nation and brought out. And John, Yeshua said, in order for the world to know that I love the Father, that as the Father commanded me, so I am doing. Rise up, let us go from here. It's the same thing that where Moshe said, here I am, Yahweh said, I'm sending you to Pharaoh. This is the same thing here, that Yeshua. So we have, none of this is possible without a Redeemer. But I found something interesting. Even in Matthew 28:17, and when they saw him, they bowed to him. I never saw this before, but some doubted.
Yeah, like Thomas.
And Yeshua came up and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Therefore, go and make taught ones of all the nations, immersing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the set-apart Spirit, teaching them to guard all that I have commanded you, and see, I am always with you until the end of the age. So, this whole idea of here I am is what we started with. And it's what the Father has asked of us, is,
Make disciples of
nations. But it's a call. Lori, here I am. And we have a call. We do. It comes through Scripture time and time again. Here I am, here I am. The thing is, with what we see with Moshe and what we see with our Messiah, none of this happens without a Redeemer. It just does not happen without a Redeemer. So with that, I want to close with this. And it's simple for everybody who is here, and you guys know that I've started doing this, is that, like I said, none of this is possible without a Redeemer. And if you have not said, here I am, now is the time to do it. If you have not accepted Yeshua as your Messiah, now is the time to do it.
Receive it.
Here I am. So, if there are anybody here that would like to do that, you can come see me. You can come see Mr. Barnes. I know there are others. You can talk to your mom and dads, or if you're, of an older nature, come see us. So, anyways, let me close. And you know what, Udi? Yeah, forgot.
love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. In all my days, I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire and the darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I believe in the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Sing it again. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Yeshua. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. My life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Amen. All my life. All my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Amen. All my life. All my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Hallelujah.
Father, I just want to come before you this evening and thank you for this time that we can get together. Father, on this Shabbat, the day that you have given to us to rest, to gather together, to come before you and with you for intimacy and time with you, Father, and I just thank you for that. I ask, Father, I which you have given me. I pray that I have been faithful where I have been short. I ask that you would complete it. Father, I just thank you. I ask that you would bless and watch over each and every one of us. Be with us as we gather around the table, that our conversation, Father, would be pleasing unto you, that all that we do would bring you honor and glory. In Yeshua's name, amen.
Amen.